gone live using my phone before, so this is um, a bit of a test. It's been almost 2 months since my last video, which was also a stream. I can't believe it's already been nearly 2 months, but work got kind of crazy, and then I was doing like a landscaping project out in my yard, and that kind of snowballed because the last day that I worked on it, I got this rash like all over my body. I'm still not completely sure if it was just like a heat rash or if I actually had some kind of allergic reaction to something. But yeah, I had this rash like all over my body for like a week. Luckily, it went away on its own, but I basically didn't do anything that whole week because I was waiting for the rash to go away. I didn't want to irritate it any farther. So yeah, um, and that was maybe like 2 weeks ago. I was recovering from that, and then got a new cat, and yeah, so kind of crazy. I tend to, when I'm working on a project, just make that project like my main priority. So like whenever I have the energy and the free time, I will work on that project until I complete it. So that's why I just like suddenly stopped streaming. And then, like I said, all of a sudden it had been 2 months. So here I am. I'm doing like a home reno update because I'm actually going on leave from work for 2 weeks because I just desperately needed time away from my job. I've been getting increasingly more and more irritated with my bosses at my current job to the point that I want to leave. So I decided to take a personal leave for 2 weeks. Might end up being longer depending on how I feel at the end of those 2 weeks. I might extend my leave even longer than that. But while I'm on my leave, I would like to do some reno projects that are on my ever growing list of reno projects for the house. Um, I got this house now almost going on 3 years ago. November will be 3 years. I've been doing projects around the house pretty much nonstop since I moved in. Mostly small scale projects like painting and like patching walls, recalking trim, all that kind of stuff. The bathroom was the first really big project where I ripped out the built-in and redid it. That was the biggest project that I've done, which I made a whole video on. And now I have a big project that I've been gearing up to do in the kitchen and still haven't started. So this 2-week leave would be the perfect opportunity for me to do this project. Whether or not I'll actually do it, I don't want to like force myself to do it because the whole point of me fixing up the house is because I enjoy it. So I try not to force myself to work on things if I don't feel like working on them because it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be work. So, um, yeah, I'm hoping that while I'm on my leave, I feel the motivation to start this project. But we'll see. Like I said, I don't want to force myself if I, would rather just lounge around and not really do anything. But yeah, I'm currently in the living room. I'm going to flip the camera, which should just be this button here. Excellent. There's my new cat, Chester. He does not remotely respond to his name, which makes me more and more tempted every day to rename him because I did not name him. He's 5 years old, already had the name Chester. I'm not a huge fan of giving pets human names. So, kind of tempted to just rename him since he doesn't seem to know his name anyway. I was really set on my next cat being named Chapel because the church that or the church, the cat that I have now is named Church. So I was gonna name my next cat Chapel so that they would have matching names. Um, and there is Church. Her nickname is Momo, so I probably refer to her a lot as Momo in videos, but her actual name is Church. But she got the nickname Momo when she was still a kitten. It is short for monster because she was um, quite a handful as a kitten. So she does respond to both names. But yes, the dining room is the one room that I just do not have um, major plans for, as I say anytime I do a house update. But I finally do have a project planned for in here because I could not for the life of me figure out what to do with this room, which is why it just kind of was mostly empty. I mean, I do have like all of my music stuff in here, but I didn't really know what to do with this room because I don't need a dining table. It would be completely unnecessary because I would never use it. Um, I did put window film on the front door, which looks really pretty. It had blinds on it when I moved in, and I had used window film in a different room. In the bathroom, I just have plain like privacy frosted glass looking window film. Um, and it occurred to me that I could get window film for the front door as well and get some like pretty stained glass looking film. And yeah, so that's what I did. And it looks so much nicer than the blinds did. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's just a really nice little touch and definitely, like I said, looks way nicer than the blinds without actually costing very much. So did that, which was honestly probably the biggest project that I've done in the dining room. But the big project that I have planned in here to like make this room have some function for me is that I want to actually do a built-in window seat over here. And my current plan, because I know it's going to be a huge undertaking, especially after building the shelves in the bathroom, I know it's going to take a lot of time to build them. Um, Luckily with this, I won't have like a bunch of demo to do because the shelves in the bathroom probably at least maybe even more than half of the time. It took me 3 months to do those with, only being able to work on them a few hours every week, but probably more than half of that time was just demo of ripping the old shelves out and getting everything where it needed to be able to, uh, rebuild them. So the demo actually took a lot of time. With this, I don't have anything that needs to be ripped out first other than the baseboard. So I at least won't have, a bunch of demo to do. But my plan is I want to do like a whole built-in unit, but because I know it's going to take a long time, my plan is that I'll build the bench and then later on I can start building up because my design is essentially to have the bench across, and then I'm gonna build like 2 shelving units to go up on either side and then have shelves across the top. So I can add that later on. So I was gonna do the bench first and like I'll just have the bench and then later on I can come back and put in the shelves. But yeah, that is my plan for in here. I finally have figured out something that I can do in here. And it's a great place for it because this is the front door. So my plan is, you can probably see there's like tiny little notch out right here beside the door that I believe is for the piping for the bathroom. It's my best guess because like there's no like aesthetic reason for this to be here. It's very randomly placed here beside the window, and they actually um you can see like the trim goes into the wall. They didn't even cut the windowsill back. So this clearly wasn't always here. So I believe that they notched this out when they put plumbing in the house because the house most likely it was built in 1930, so it wouldn't have had indoor plumbing. So probably when they added the bathroom upstairs, they needed to run the pipes somewhere. So they just made this little notch out. That's my best guess. I obviously can't know for sure without knocking into the wall, but I believe that's what this is. So my plan is to kind of build around this and hide the fact that this notch is here because it looks really weird and out of place. So my plan is to just kind of hide it so that you won't be able to tell that it was there and just kind of build the shelf in front of it and um it will obviously be slightly more narrow on this side depth-wise than this side, but otherwise, um, doing the shelves on either side, it'll create, like, a balance, whereas right now, it's just, like, this weird little notch on this side, whereas that side's completely normal, so, yeah, my plan is to kind of to hide that with the built-in, and then, like I said, the front door's here, so my plan is that these are gonna be, like, open shelves for a little almost like mudroom sort of thing where you can hang your jacket and your keys and, like, put your shoes down underneath to have that right next to the front door, have the bench under the windows, and then on this side, I wanna do an actual, like, little closet because there's only one closet downstairs, and it's in the kitchen, and that closet would be so much better utilized as a pantry. So I would love to make a little coat closet over here. It'll obviously be very small. It won't be able to hold a ton, just, because I'm dictated by the width that I have from the window to the wall, so it won't be super wide. So you won't be able to get a ton of stuff in there, but there'll still at least be some sort of coat closet downstairs because I don't want to just completely get rid of the closet in the kitchen because I do keep all of my coats in there. It makes sense to have a coat closet downstairs, but I really want to use that closet and turn it into a pantry. So that's the plan that I finally have for in here. Super excited about it, but I do know it's gonna, it'll be a big build, and I haven't done a bench before, so I feel confident that I can do it. But I do also have a better frame of reference of how long it's gonna take. Um, Now the kitchen. Um, Dishes and trash everywhere. I have a really hard time maintaining my kitchen. It's just a constant struggle. I blame my mom because she never made me do chores growing up. So, like, I just never had to do dishes. I was never like had that habit enforced in me. So, yeah, I just have still not managed to get into a good habit of doing dishes. And yes, I do have a dishwasher. I refuse to use it because I live alone and there is no reason why I can't wash my dishes by hand. I'm just being lazy. So, yeah. Anyway, the kitchen. This is where I want the next big project to be. So these cabinets are built-in cabinets and they go all the way to the ceiling. But the rest of the cabinets in here are prefab cabinets that only go up to about the top of the doorway. So one project I want to do in here is that I want to put cabinets up above here so that they are ceiling height cabinets just like I have with the built-ins over here. And do that above both of these to utilize that space since there's very limited cabinet space in the kitchen. Because ideally, if I had the money, I would take out these windows and then you could have the cabinets wrapped the whole way around here in a U, and you would have like a completely like decently sized kitchen in here because it is a like decent sized room. It's just the fact that these huge double windows here completely limit how many cabinets you can get in here. So if these windows weren't here, you could have like a bunch more cabinets in here. But I don't have the kind of I don't have window removing money, okay? So I want to utilize the space I do have right now and building some box cabinets to go up above here because that is my plan to just uh, build them myself, get some wood. It's really simple to just build out essentially a box and then put some doors on them. My full plan is to actually um, put them up there and then get new doors and have like full length doors so that you it gives the illusion that they're ceiling height cabinets instead of it looking like two separate sets of cabinets to just have a huge door that goes the whole way up and then it'll look like it's a ceiling high cabinet if that makes sense. But there's also a ton more that I want to do specifically on this wall because I want to put in a range microwave, which I talked about when I redid my tiling. Um, the thing is that you're not supposed to have a range microwave directly on a wall because it can make it potentially impossible to open up the door depending on how the door swings. They usually need a little bit of room on the side to open properly. So, the full plan for in here is to notch out bump out uh this wall by about 3.5 inches. So you can see the wall looks all crazy. This door trim originally came all the way over. I ripped this off a long time ago and cut it back to where the arch is. So I want to cut out this arch and then extend this wall, like I said, by about 3.5 inches, because as you can see, the cabinet hangs off the end of the wall because it's not long enough. They originally had just a piece of wood stuck to this wall to make it a little bit um, thicker, but it looked outrageous. So I ripped that off as well. But bring this out, and then that'll give me, like I said, about 3.5 inches. And then what I want to do is take these cabinets, shift them down 3 inches. My plan is to get a little filler cabinet for right here because you can get filler cabinets that are 3 inches wide and have that right there. And then this, and then the range microwave will be here. And um, my plan is to also like shift this down 3 inches and have another filler cabinet here. And yeah, that's the vision. And the filler cabinet here, like I said, it's only 3 inches wide. It's basically made to be like a spice rack, which will be perfect to go right above the stove. So that works out nicely. And yeah, that'll give me even more cabinet space because then I'll have like a little spice rack thing there beside the wall. And that's the plan. It's a lot to do, obviously. Um, I actually have this cabinet emptied because I wanted to take it off of the wall so I could cut out the archway. I did that over a month ago and then never worked on it at all. But Yeah, basically the plan is to take this upper cabinet down so that I can work on this archway. I need to cut the arch out so that I can properly extend uh, this section of the wall because obviously if I bump out this wall with the arch still there, it's gonna look super wonky. So I'm just gonna cut it out because it doesn't really make a ton of sense to have an archway here to begin with. It's kind of a weird placement for an archway since um, it's right up against like a wall. Normally you would have an arch and it would be open, but since the ceiling is bumped down, it looks really weird to have an arch there. So I'm just gonna remove it. I do love arched doorways, but this is just a super weird placement for one. So yeah, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to have this here. So my plan is to just remove it and square it off. I think that'll actually look a ton better because while it doesn't look super weird from this side, if you look at it from the other side, there's a little spider. If you look at it from this side, look at how weird this looks. This is how it looks from the other side. As you can tell, it just looks so out of place. I I'm not really sure what the thought process was here because basically so this ceiling here is lower because the stairs are directly above us. Um, so yeah, I confused about that. Like I said, you can see how weird it looks from the other side, even though it looks fairly normal from this side, but yeah, super weird from the other side because of the drop ceiling there for the stairs. So, yeah, I need to cut that out, build a little frame, um, to extend this wall. I'm gonna have to cut back some of the tiles, which actually kind of works funnily enough because these two tiles will need cut back to extend this wall. And this one is cracked, so it needs replaced anyway. There's a huge crack, it's like a hairline crack running along these two tiles here. So, yeah, this tile I'm just going to completely remove so that it can be replaced since it already has a crack in it anyway. And then this one here, I just need to make like a tiny little notch right here in the corner to be able to extend it. I actually have this tile is just laying here, which don't do this because if you lay a tile down that's not actually properly laid, if you step on it, you can crack it. So this is a terrible idea. Don't do this. I did have it propped up against the wall, but my cat kept like bumping up against it, and I was afraid they were gonna knock it over and shatter it. So I just laid it down, and that was months ago. And I never picked it back up, and it's still in one piece, but still should not have it laying there. But this tile was actually shattered, like fully shattered before I even bought the house. The tile was like shattered into a couple different pieces, and the only thing keeping it in place was the mortar underneath. So yeah, I did remove that, and I had a couple extra tiles in the basement when I moved in. Fortunately enough, so I didn't have to hunt for these tiles. I do have a few extra, but yeah, I will need to do that. So cut out the arch, cut back the tiles before I can even start to frame out this wall to extend it. But yeah, that is the big project for in here. This is my basement, which I don't think I've ever actually shown the entrance to my basement. This is it. I have my little cleaning area and outdoor shoes for when I do stuff in the yard. And that stuff there that you can barely see is all stuff that I have up for sale online because I'm just constantly getting rid of things. But yeah, so kitchen is the main area. Living room is still pretty much like not much going on based on the last update I did for the living room, pretty much all the same, other than that I have the shelves in here now for my DVDs. I do have, check this little balloon boy out. My friend says is extremely creepy, but look, his balloon goes right to my It DVDs, which is why I kept it because it was really giving me It vibes. And I sat him there and it just like perfectly lined up. So, yeah, living room pretty much the same, some small changes. I still need to do the patchwork for the ceiling. That is on my list. You can see it's a huge crack over here that goes like the entire length from there to there. So yeah, there is a lot of cracking. You can also that like slight what looks like discoloration um is actually just the paint from when I painted the walls because even though the walls look white, they're actually like a have a yellow undertone to them. So that is the paint up against the actual white paint that's on the ceilings where I you can see was not being careful at all and just hit the ceiling while I was painting. And yeah. So that's pretty much it. Let's end the video on Chester. Hey dude. Momo was over there. Oh, there she is. I almost dropped my phone. Momo! Oh, she had something to say. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Uh, some big projects that I want to get started on. We'll see how that goes. See if I feel like being productive. Those 2 weeks. Might stream if I don't feel like being productive. We'll see. I do still have more Resi 4 to play through. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just felt like doing a little rundown essentially of my to-do list for projects around the house, my two big projects that I have planned to follow up. Now that I had a bit of a break after finishing the project in the bathroom, I feel like I'm ready to tackle another big project. So, yeah, that is it. Now I have to figure out how to end the stream. All right, bye guys.